Let me put this into a business application for you using a personal anecdote, and that's why I'm going to give you the personal anecdote. My oldest daughter was moving back east in 2008. No, actually, it's 2007. She moved back east after we had that peak in the blue line in March 2006. She says, "Dad, I'm going to be buying a home. You got any suggestions?" I said, "Yeah, don't buy a home now because we're in the middle of a really bad recession. Prices are going down. Come live with us instead." She goes, "Okay, can I bring my husband and my child?" I said, "Okay." 2008, she comes to me and she says, "Dad, I think now is the time we should be buying a house." I said, "No, darling, it's not time to be buying a house. We're not at the bottom yet. You buy at the bottom and you sell at highs. We're not even close to the bottom yet in 2008. She goes, "Dad, I'm pregnant, though." I said, "Oh, vey." Economics is economics. We're still not at the bottom. You're staying put. 2009, I see that bottom forming, and I say, now, baby, go." And she says, "I want you to know, Dad, we learned our lesson because we're astute. We know that so many people lost their homes over the course of that decline by getting too big of a mortgage, by buying too big of a house. They stretched themselves too much, and that's why they lost their homes. And I want you to know, Dad, that we're not going to do that. We're going to get a smaller mortgage and a smaller house than we could otherwise afford so that we'll be safe." And I said, "Darling, you don't get it. You don't let the last 3 years of your life drive how you're going to spend the next 30 years or the next 25 years or the next 15 years paying off this mortgage. Interest rates are at historic lows. We've gone through an asset price bubble. That means real estate is at incredibly low prices. Forget the last 3 years and look forward instead of backwards. You get the biggest house for the biggest mortgage you possibly can. I need some place to live." How many of us in our businesses are thinking like my daughter did? The last 3 years have been horrible, so we've become risk averse. We don't know that this recovery is going to be sustainable. In our hearts, we want to believe that it's going to be, but in our minds, we haven't convinced ourselves that it's going to be. Now's the time to become more entrepreneurial than you ever have before. With interest rates so incredibly low, you must be borrowing money at this juncture of the business cycle to fund the expansion of the future, to be going into new markets, new applications, new services, things that you have never offered before. Go into the real estate market. This is when you should be buying private residential dwelling units like you've never bought them before, all over the place. It's always a function of location, 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 right? So let me give you the 3 locations that matter. 1, buy a place on a mountaintop. Because the demographics of the United States are positive, because there is going to be inflation out there, and because there's only so much mountaintop space available, I promise you demand will exceed supply. Buy a place with a view. Get a single-family dwelling unit in an urban area. Again, because I promise you demand is going to outstrip supply. Those prices are going to rebound, and you're going to do very nicely investing in that urban real estate. Or, and this is the 3rd location, you buy it on water. Because demand for that property is going to grow, and there's only so much land available on water. Be it a lake, a river, the ocean. Now, the ocean may present some problems for you. If you believe Al Gore, how far back from the ocean do I really buy this property? You know? Studies show that the oceans of the world are indeed rising. They're rising at the pace of 7 inches every century. So, buy 21 inches back from the water, okay? And you'll be fine for several generations.